Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. In today's video we're going to be talking about everything that we saw from the Coca-Cola 600 along with some penalties that have come out this week, and we're also going to talk a little bit about Gateway this upcoming weekend. But before we hop into the video, I just want to quickly remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. And you can also check out our social media pages, which are linked down in the description. But let's go ahead and start the video. My friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show. I'm trying my best to compose my laughter. Matthew has been looking forward to this video all week long. Just for some context, we're recording this Thursday night, so 3 nights after the Coca-Cola 600. And I promise that's not because I wanted to skip out on this video. I had work and other things the past 3 nights. Matthew can vouch for me. As much as I don't want to do this video, I still have to do it. I still have an obligation, and I'm not skipping out. I had stuff to do. Matthew can vouch for me, but anyways, Matthew's probably been looking forward to this all week, so how are you feeling? You've had 3 days to kind of process things, but I guess let's go ahead and hop into it.
Well, I've been having a wonderful week. It's been fun. It was a fun weekend with all three of the greatest motorsports in the world racing one day, or actually 2 days because of rain delays. But what a weekend! Hey Jimmy, how you doing today? You good? I just want to make sure you're good. I know this coming weekend it's gonna be a very long weekend for you. I think you're gonna be going to Cancun this weekend, right? You're going straight to Cancun. So I brought you a beach. I'm gonna bring you a beach chair for you. I got some nice beach towels for you. I'm gonna make sure you're all packed up, ready to go, because it's gonna be a long weekend for you, and I think it's gonna be a fun weekend for you.
I appreciate you already having me packed. Yeah, I fly out as soon as this video is done being edited. I'm on the plane on my way down there. So I appreciate the warm gesture and your concern for me this weekend. I think I'll live. I think I'll be okay. I didn't have my driver for what, 6 weeks. So what's another week? I'll be okay. I'll figure
Hey,
it
hey,
out.
wait, wait, and also make sure you say hi to Jason Tatum while you're down over there. Also,
And I could say hi to all the other NBA teams that aren't in the finals too. So I guess it'll be a fun weekend. I'll get to see LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Durant. I'll get to see a lot of good players while I'm down there. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the video. I quickly want to start off by talking about Ryan Blaney. He dominated the Coke 600, snapped a 59 race winless streak. So congratulations to him. I know it's been quite a rough year and a half, I think, or so for him. So glad he was able to finally break through, get that win. Great guy. Couldn't think of a person who deserves it more. You could definitely tell that he was emotional, and you have that doubt if you go a season and a half without winning, if you could do it anymore, and he got that win. So glad that he could, get those negative thoughts out of his head. William Byron was also really good as well. So his pit crew, especially. He came in the pits. He would start first on whatever restart, lead a few laps. He had a good short run car. He'd fall back to second, third, fourth. The caution would come out, come back down pit road. His pit crew would get him right back out there, P1. So William Byron's pit crew did really good. But let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. I feel like Denny Hamlin on his podcast, like his co-host is like, so are we going to get into this or not? Like, it's what the people came to see, the people came to hear about. So yes, let's go ahead and get into it. So in stage 2, Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin ended up getting into it. It all started on a restart. Denny Hamlin was on the inside of Chase Elliott coming off of turn 2, and they actually made contact. Hamlin came off the track and hit Chase Elliott. And then a few laps later, coming off of turn 4, Denny Hamlin was losing control of his car, started sliding up the track, ended up sliding, didn't hit Chase Elliott, almost did, but that made Chase hit the wall, and then Chase bounced off the wall, and then a few seconds later decided to make contact with Denny Hamlin, and then ended up sending Denny Hamlin into the outside wall. Very hard hit for Denny. On his podcast, it sounded like he was pretty sore from the hit. No major injuries or anything like that, which is good, but definitely not a good thing to hear a driver complaining that they are sore or hurt after an accident. So glad he's okay. Um, Let me see. I don't even know how to There's a lot of opinions floating in my head. I'm trying to figure out. I had to write them all down. So after it happened, Denny Hamlin went straight to Twitter and proved his point that Chase Elliott did this intentionally. He showed all of the SMT data about, Chase's, wheel and throttle ratio and all this other stuff. And I was like, dang, Denny must really want some justice here. I guess he's kind of been screwed over the past few times anything involving him has happened. So I guess he really wanted to prove his point and make sure NASCAR saw that Chase did this intentionally. So he went straight to Twitter and did that. Also went off on his podcast, rightfully so. Had probably a good 5 to 10 minute, I don't want to call it rant, but discussion, I guess, on what happened, his opinion on things. And I guess I'll just go ahead and say this. As a Chase Elliott fan, seeing what happened, yes, I do think that Chase did this intentionally. There was one video, I'll put it on the screen as I'm looking at it right now. It's from NASCAR's Instagram, and it's just the normal replay of the wreck. And as this view pretty much seals it for me. So he bounces off the wall. The car remains straight for a little bit, and then after it remains straight for a little bit, you see it kind of jerk to the left. And I think that obviously, the video proves it right there that Chase was trying to hit Denny Hamlin. I don't think he was trying to hook him into the wall or anything like that, but that's just unfortunately what happened. There were replays as well that from Brad Keselowski's cam that looked like he did hit Chase Elliott, but it looked like Chase turned and made contact with Denny, and Brad hit him right as that happened. So, it just stinks as a Chase Elliott fan. I'm really not happy that he did this to Denny Hamlin, because Denny is one of the last drivers I want Chase Elliott to make upset, because we've seen what he's been doing with Ross. He's been getting in Ross's head, racing him really hard, and I'm sure that's what's going to happen for the rest of this season, if not even longer than that. So, not looking forward to the rest of this season for that. Denny Hamlin, will he do some kind of payback? I don't see him, wrecking Chase Elliott on purpose or anything, unless he, gets into the back of him or lightly spins him out or something like that. I don't see any egregious payback coming, but I see something similar to what is going on with Denny and Ross, where he just races him hard, really hard, makes him put him in precarious situations and stuff like that. But as a result of all of this happening, Chase Elliott does get suspended for one race. He will miss a gateway, and this is the big thing Denny was preaching on Twitter, on his podcast. He's saying that Chase should be suspended for this because it's pretty much the same thing that happened with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson last year at Las Vegas, and I completely agree. It is pretty much the same thing that happened between those two drivers. So NASCAR stepped in, applied the same penalty as that. Corey LaJoie will actually fill in for Chase Elliott, which is a surprise. I wasn't expecting a current Cup driver who's already on a different team to fill in, but that's going to happen. And then Carson Hocevar is going to fill in the number 7, while Corey LaJoie races in the 9. So Carson Hocevar will get his Cup Series debut at Gateway. Pretty excited for him to do that. My main thing about this is wondering if the penalty should be more for this, because this is the second time we've seen this in the next-gen car. We also saw Carson Hocevar do this. I don't know if it's earlier this year or last year. He did the same thing. He wrecked somebody on purpose. And I think the penalty needs to be more. I don't know if I don't think it should be changed this year, but for next year I think it should be changed. I don't really know what it needs to be. I think the one race suspension is good. I think you need to throw in some type of points penalty or something like that. I saw something about, taking their playoff eligibility away. I think that's a bit too much for something like this. But I mean, doing this at a 1.5 mile track with speeds this high is definitely a no. So, I don't really know where the line is. Maybe a 2 race suspension and X amount of points, X amount of playoff points, and a fine or something like that. I'm not sure. But I do think that NASCAR needs to look into this and upgrade this penalty in the future. But one more thing I just want to read from Elton Sawyer. He said on Sirius XM, this is how I guess, how they came to the conclusion. He said it was an intentional act by Chase, in our opinion, in our view, and after reviewing all the available resources. He said can't hook a driver in the right rear and put them in harm's way, not just major head on into the wall, but also puts other drivers in harm's way. So pretty much that's what happened. Corey LaJoie is going to fill in. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say about it. Well, I almost forgot. So the one good thing, I'm going to say the one good thing about this is I finally don't have to deal with you or other Chase Elliott haters saying, oh, he's the golden boy. He gets everything, every right call going his way. So I don't want to hear that anymore. Nope, no more. So Chase Elliott, not the golden boy, doesn't get everything his way. That's all I gotta say. That's the only good thing out of this, I guess. But Matthew, go ahead and share your thoughts about all of this drama that happened during the Coca-Cola 600.
All right. So before I get into that, um, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Ryan Blaney on winning the Coca-Cola 600. I know he's had a rough uh, season and a half basically with not winning a lot basically. And I mean, I know he's a very consistent driver, but he's not like William Byron or Kyle Larson where you're just dominating races and you're like the best car in the field. But Ryan Blaney was definitely arguably the best car that weekend. I mean that race, and I hope I see more of that out of Ryan Blaney because I feel like if he was more like that, he would automatic. I feel like he would automatically be a real championship contender. But I mean, it seems like in Ryan Blaney's standards, he just always wins a race and then just stays relatively consistent. But I mean, I hope to see Blaney have more, these type of races like the 600, and I feel like if he does, I'll make him a championship contender coming to Phoenix. So congratulations to him. I love his celebration. It was basically the Indy 500 celebration by going to the crowd. I wonder if that's gonna be a new tradition. Have all these drivers go into the crowd. I might make those start finish line seats on the bottom row rise up. I we might have to try that, but yeah, congratulations to Blaney. All right, let's address the elephant in the room here. Um, Look, I know we were all joking around at the beginning of this video, but but in all seriousness, I'm just very disappointed with how Chase Elliott handled this because I know Chase Elliott is not really that type of guy to do something like this. I know he's not like that. I mean, he gets a reputation for being arguably the most robotic personality of all NASCAR. And I know there's times where he has been mad at drivers, but I never really thought he would even do something like this. I mean, this was basically identical to what happened with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson in Las Vegas last year. And I can argue that this was even worse than the Bubba and Larson incident because where this occurred was on the dog leg at Charlotte. And getting wrecked there in those high speeds is absolutely dangerous. I mean, there have been drivers in the past that have been killed because of that from the dog leg and or seriously injured from that dog leg, and that's something that you just cannot play around. And I mean that was very disappointing. I mean, I don't blame Denny Hamlin one bit for being really pissed off. I mean, you just got turned basically in the highest on the basically a high speed area on a mile and a half, and that could have seriously injured Hamlin. But thankfully, it sounds like he's relatively okay. I heard he's sore, but. He's relatively okay. Um, I mean, I feel like that was a smart move by Hamlin to basically tweet out the SMT data. Like, here's proof right here. He basically called Elliott in 4K basically by posting it on Twitter, calling him in 4K. But I mean, NASCAR absolutely did make the right call, and I mean that's all I wanted, just consistency, and we shouldn't have to worry about it, but of course I had to worry about it because this is NASCAR we're talking about. There have been times where NASCAR showed favoritism. Of course, the big example I could think of was when Jeff Gordon purposely wrecked Clint Boyer for the championship at Phoenix. Well, Clint Boyer was fighting for the championship, not Jeff Gordon, but you get the point. He basically took a championship contender out of the running, and Jeff Gordon did not get any suspension for that. He actually was in. He actually ended up racing that very next week,
And winning
which
that race, by the way.
made zero sense to me at all because he purposely wrecked someone. And then let's look at it a couple years later. Matt Kenseth purposely taking out a championship contender, which was Joey Logano in Martinsville. And guess what? He got suspended for that. Does that make any sense to you, Jimmy? Does that make any sense?
No,
But thankfully, it seems like NASCAR now is starting to set a precedent that they're not going to tolerate basically hooking someone to the to the wall basically, and now they nailed it twice in a row with basically two really popular drivers here. You can say what you want about Bo Wallace; he's popular. Let's just get out of the way. But I mean, I didn't think Bo Wallace would get suspended, or but he ended up getting suspended. And then Chase Elliott, I mean, he should definitely get suspended. But I was having my doubts because of NASCAR with their history. But credits to them, they made the right call, and that's all we wanted to see. So props to them. Um, but yeah, it's this whole thing is. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed because I didn't think Chase Elliott would even do such a thing like that. I don't see him as that type of guy, but he ended up doing that. So I mean, hopefully he learns from this, and hopefully we don't have to talk about something like this again. But yeah. Oh, by the way, Denny Hamlin, you're an absolute genius calling out the worst fan base of all sports on your podcast. What did he quote? Oh yeah, he said this. Chase Elliott fans, some of them are sane, but most of them are, you know, crazy basically or stupid. So that props to Denny Hamlin for calling him out, which I have a lot of respect for. Because Jimmy, I've been sending you all the memes of people literally comparing Bubba Wallace to Chase Elliott's incidents. You see the different reactions. You see the difference in the reactions between those two incidents. That should tell you why. um, and yeah, I mean, they proved those that idiot fan base. They proved it once again why they are the worst. Because I've never seen so many pathetic excuses in my life than this incident. They literally were like, "Oh, Robin's racing. Oh, Daddy Hammond put him in the wall. That gives him the right." Oh, what a bunch of baloney I've ever heard in my life. These people were literally wanted Bubba Wallace being thrown in jail for what he did to Larson. Now you're talking about what Hamlin did at like Chase Elliott and Hamlin's situation, like, oh, Hamlin, that was Hamlin's fault. Oh, that's just Robin's racing. He should be able to do that. Baloney. That's stupid. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have to really say about it. And yeah, uh, just disappointing.
hey, at least Denny Hamlin acknowledged that at least some Chase Elliott fans are sane, aka me.
Correction. Only one Chase Elliott fan is actually reasonable, and that's you. Only one.
At least there's one of us. Hopefully, I can find more more people like that out there
Good
eventually
luck.
someday. But yeah, two. I just want to say two more quick things that you remind me of. Um, Both of their interviews from the infield care center. Chase Elliott obviously did the whole, you hit the wall, the car is done. You can't control it, which seems to be the popular response to an interview for these kind of things because he can't admit anything. Because if he admitted that he did it, he probably would have got suspended an extra race or fined or points taken away or any of that stuff. So Chase Elliott said the politically correct answer just by brushing it off, kind of. And then Denny Hamlin obviously, said that Chase threw a tantrum, which, slight side note, Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain, that has been a tantrum for about a year, actually a year this week, actually. So Denny Hamlin, that's one thing he can't talk about is a tantrum because he's thrown, tantrums over Ross this whole time. But anyways, and then just to conclude, yeah, like as a Chase Elliott fan in general, I am very disappointed in how Chase handled this whole situation. Like you, I never would have thought that he would have done something like this. This same situation happened a few times in the race. I think Kyle Busch actually squeezed Ty Gibbs into the wall one time, and I think he did it to Stenhouse or something like that as well. And none of them did anything back. I think you just kind of have to see that as a move that's gonna have to a situation that's gonna happen a lot with these cars. Just the car on the bottom getting really tight coming off the corner, having to lift and accidentally squeeze the guy up against the wall, if not into the wall. So I think that's just a thing you're going to have to live with, and you're going to have to lift and try to accommodate for it and all that kind of stuff. Because obviously we saw it with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson, saw it today. I'm sure we'll see it a few more times with drivers in that same situation on the racetrack. But yeah, as a Chase Elliott fan, very disappointed. But we move on, as you had to deal with it with Kyle Busch wrecking Ron Hornaday, and you're still a Kyle Busch fan. You just kind of
Oh,
got to
that was
take the
over a
blows.
decade ago. I don't even remember that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's just a bump in the road. You just have to live with it, accept it, and embrace it. As a fan, you gotta live and die with your driver, with the good decisions they make, the bad decisions they make, the highs, lows, everything in between. So, I'm sticking with Chase. It was a mistake. He's just got to move on and learn from it and all that kind of stuff. So, now we can finally lay that to rest and move on to another topic, which involves the other Chase, Chase Briscoe. It was announced they have a major, major penalty this week. NASCAR slams Chase Briscoe and his team with a massive penalty, $250,000 fine, 120 driver points, and 25 playoff points. And the crew chief is suspended for 6 races, all for a counterfeit part, which isn't even modified, it's different than that. I've done a tiny bit of research on this, and it looks like the part is like a fake part, and they tried to cover it up and make it look like it was real, even down to like the letters on the part and all of that kind of stuff. So NASCAR ain't playing no games with this one. I think this is one of if not the biggest single team penalties that I have seen. $250,000 and 120 driver points. That's absolutely insane. Massive penalty there. But it's good to see NASCAR remaining consistent with these kind of penalties. If they see something they don't like on the car, and it's counterfeit, modified, anything like that, they seem to be stepping in. Um, that's honestly really all I have to say about it. But Matthew, what do you have to say about that stuff, that news, real quick?
I mean, you thought Legacy Motor Club was an absolute dumpster fire. SHR is even almost a bigger dumpster fire than that because this once former super team, 4 car super team, is now become an absolute laughing stock in NASCAR. But literally, you have a guy in his almost to his 50s carrying this team, and he's in his final year. He's the only SHR car in the top 20, above the top 20. The rest of them now are below the top 20 in points. Are you kidding me? And this whole penalty is even a bigger joke. I mean, come on. You know what's even funnier about this whole thing? It's not like Chase Briscoe, this part, made him a dominant car. He was literally running right with JJ Yaley. Wait, no, no, no. JJ Yaley finished in front of him. Are you kidding me? And that's just a big insult to injury, basically. So, I mean, this whole organization is so dysfunctional with Gene Haas basically all hands all focus on his F1 team, which to his credit has gone better since a couple of years ago when it was the worst team in F1. To Tony Stewart having a bunch of hissy fits and say, I'm going to do NHRA to find some more free time. Well, maybe you should get your butt back in that shop and start figuring out how to make your cars fast again because apparently Tony Stewart is not interested in his team anymore. So either leave your team or get your butt back in the shop. That's all I have to say. And probably you should probably think about at least downsizing because apparently this their 4 car operation starting to take a toll on this organization. They might have to scale back to 3 cars, basically, in my opinion. But I doubt that will happen. But yeah, just another embarrassing moment for this once proud super team.
Alright, quickly I'm going to talk about this weekend and then we'll finish this video up. So the truck series, they are at Gateway. Xfinity is in Portland, the road course once again, the second time around. Last year it rained like a lot, so hopefully the rain isn't too much of a factor this time. You know, if it rained a little bit, that's fine, but I'd like to see this track in its natural form, I guess. And then Cup is also at Gateway. Um, why am I blanking on the name? What's his name is racing? Jordan Taylor
Jordan
is racing.
Taylor.
Yep, he's racing in the number 10 car in the Xfinity Series at Portland, so that'll be very exciting to see. I'm wondering how competitive he will be in that car. Hopefully, he has a good run. But Cup Series is at Gateway, trucks are at Gateway, doubleheader there this weekend. That's pretty much it as far as the schedule goes. But Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and finish this video out?
Before we wrap it up, I am so happy for Corey LaJoy getting the opportunity, finally an opportunity with a top Cup ride, and I mean I hope he's able to do well because he's just shown that he's able to outperform Aspire Motorsports car, that Aspire Motorsports equipment. So I cannot wait to see how he does in basically the top team in the Cup Series right now. So really happy for Corey LaJoy and also happy Carson Hocevar getting his first Cup Series start. A little questionable in my opinion since I feel like he's just a Ross Chastain clone here, in my opinion. But happy for him too.
Yeah, definitely excited for Corey LaJoy that he gets an opportunity to showcase his talent in a top tier ride. Hopefully, he can make the best of it. But that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. A little bit of a long video, but had a lot of stuff to talk about. Threw a little bit of jokes in there, threw a little bit of serious talk in there, a little bit of mix of everything. That's how we love to do it around here. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys check out our social media pages. Those will be linked down and below. But until the next time, we'll see you guys in our next video.